for some time now. And maybe you're thinking about upgrading to the new MPC. Well, maybe even at that, you have a retro model of the MPC. Maybe you have an MPC 3000. Maybe you have an MPC Renaissance. Maybe you have an MPC XSE, and you're wondering, when is the time to upgrade? Should you get the MPC Live 3? Well, let's start in the middle here. This is the MPC Live Generation 1, I believe. Just happens to be the gold edition. And you know what's really cool about this MPC, ladies and gentlemen? This MPC right here is still running MPC 3.0. The question is from Lucas34767, when is the time to upgrade from the Akai Force? Coming in live. Lucas, thank you so much for joining us live. I appreciate your feedback. If you're watching this at a later date, yes, this was recorded live, and yes, I do tend to go live very often. So drop a sub, show love, if you want to catch this in real time. Lucas, let me deal with you first since you're here right now. When is the best time to upgrade the Akai Force? Lucas, the Akai Force cannot be upgraded at its current state. What you can do, and I'm talking hardware, right? But in terms of OS and software, you can go ahead and update to MPC 6.0, running that OS on the Akai Force, which is, in fact, pretty much the MPC. But the brand new MPC, not to be confused with MPC 3.0, which some would argue is legacy MPC OS and maybe the best they've ever done it. Some people still don't like the brand new OS. How do I feel about it? I like it. But let's get back to Lucas one more time. Lucas, I do think they're about to drop a new Akai Force. Now, I have been blessed to have some established connections with Akai Professional and In Music, Air, MX. I'm very grateful and very thankful. No one has told me anything on behalf of the Akai Force, but I am willing to bet, much like the MPC Live 3, which was just recently updated, we have a new Akai Force on the way. What is the Akai Force 2 going to feature? The Akai Force 2000? The Akai Force Live? Now, let's go there. Let's start there. What if the Akai Force didn't need to be plugged in? What if you could run the Akai Force with an internal battery? Bing! That would be super dope. What if the Akai Force had some touch strips on the side? That would be super dope. And then maybe, I don't know, I could use another 2 inputs, XLR, dual XLR input for direct stereo or direct instrument going straight in. More hardware, more inputs, more CV, more MIDI. I could use all of that with an internal battery. When's the best time to upgrade the Akai Force? When Akai Force decides to drop a new model. When Akai Pro, decides to drop a new model. Don't get the Ableton Push. Don't get the machine. That would be downgrading. When's the best time to downgrade from the Akai Force, Lucas? Never. Never downgrade. Hold on to this beauty, because if, ladies and gentlemen, you're thinking about upgrading the MPC Live, and maybe Santa doesn't really have the budget for you to swing over here and grab the XSE, or maybe Santa doesn't have the budget for you to get the MPC Live 3. Look, Santa ain't got the budget for me on the MPC Live 3 too. So I understand how you feel. I'm waiting on the MPC X 11,000, or whatever they decide to call it, the MPC X2. But let's not jump all over here. I know this is live and I don't want to overload you, but why are you here? You're here because you're probably thinking about upgrading your MPC Live. And maybe you should go over to the Akai Force if you can find one. Why? because now you can put a microphone directly in. I know many of you in the comments may say, oh, well, I could put a microphone into my MPC Live. Now, with additional hardware, you can, right? And I'm not talking to the MPC Live 3 crowd. That's where the MPC Live 3 right now is really winning for me as a singer-songwriter. I am really interested in microphone inputs. I'm really interested in the ability to just eliminate as much as possible and just get to the standalone process. Therefore, rewinding just a tad, MPC Live users, maybe you want to upgrade to the Akai Force. Maybe that's not a bad idea. When's the best time to do that? When you can find this thing, because I think it's actually kind of hard to find. I don't believe, correct me if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments, but I believe if you go to akaipro.com right now and you click on to purchase an Akai Force, they're going to send you to a dealer who may or may not even have the hardware in stock. I'm not going to sell mine, but maybe if you check reverb.com or eBay, or maybe even on Amazon, don't quote me, maybe you can find it. And once again, I think a lot of people are sleeping on the Akai Force. I think it is a great upgrade from the MPC Live. This hardware was released in the late teens of the 2000s, what was it, like 2018, 2019? Is it worth it to go back to an old school MPC or maybe an MPC key like your buddy in the studio had? I just wish there was a standalone battery. I have to connect my Force to a portable battery. And Akai Pro, if you're watching this, I don't know, maybe, if you're watching this, Lucas has a point. I really think the Akai Force would go crazy if it had an internal battery. I mean, just think about it from a live instrumentation perspective. Think about it from a live musician perspective. Yes, I have used the Akai Force on stage in a live setting in Hollywood, in Beverly Hills, around LA, many a time. I did not take the MPC Live in that setting because I think the MPC Live is a bit limited in a live performance setting. But what if we unleashed the chains that were attached to the Akai Force and we put a battery in that too? That would be incredible, right? I think the MPC key is actually a great option for you, Lucas. But just to stay on topic, we'll create a new video specifically talking about when should we upgrade the Akai Force. We got new videos coming for you in the future about tutorials on the Akai Force, as well as tutorials on the new MPC Live OS, and I should say the MPC 6.0 OS. I want to do a video about MPC 3.0 versus MPC 6.0. Isn't it interesting how they jumped from 3.0 to 6, and like 4 was like kind of like a back door to like nothing, and 5 wasn't even really that live, but 6 was like a big jump, right? Isn't that interesting? Just to stay on topic, when should you upgrade the MPC Live? I think, you know, truth be told, this is the whole point of this video. Let me really cut to the core, all right? If nothing else mattered in this whole video, this is the point that really matters. It doesn't matter what hardware you have, as long as it is Akai Pro standalone. I truly believe you're good. Like, do I really need another microphone in this thing if I take this to the beach? Yes, it would be amazing, but am I really gonna make a song on the beach like that? Like singing on the beach with people walking around? Am I really singing like that anyways? Like, this legacy hardware, this legacy OS, by the way, I'm never going to upgrade the OS on this MPC Live just so I can always load up all of my projects that I have created 2018, 2019, 2020, 21, 22, 23, because I have heard some things where once you upgrade your MPC, you can't even really get back there. And, you know, that's really the point of the video. Once you upgrade your MPC, you can't go back to this workflow. You can't go back to that sound. And think about the MPC Renaissance cast. Think about the real pros out there who are way more, you know, talented and acclaimed than I am. You know, a lot of them don't even use the newest MPCs. So when should you upgrade the new MPC? Or when should you upgrade your old MPC? I think you should upgrade it when you realize you don't need it anymore. And besides that, enjoy the creation with the tools that you have. Truth be told, I don't really need the MPC Live 3 because this baby right here is truly all I need. It's truly a gem, a powerhouse that does everything I need it to do. I'm only one person. I only got one voice. I got one mic. I got two hands. Shout out Nasir, and shout outs to you for watching it. I really appreciate you supporting the channel. We'll be back here even more. Subscribe. Thank you for attending this live. If you want to catch the next live, go ahead and sub up and turn post notifications on. Many a conversation to be had. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much. Peace and love. See you soon. Peace out.